I'm gonna be straight up. I'm kind of tired of reporting on stuff like this. I've done it for 2 years now, where we talk about layoffs or game sunsetting or studio closures entirely. And then this news broke that OrbusVR, which was pretty much, I would say, I think I could fairly say it was one of the first, or at least the first major MMORPG, is shutting down. Here's the official statement from the team. We want to start off by thanking the community. Since the start of development in 2016 to our launch into early access of OrbusVR in December of 2017, all the way through this last year, we have always been blessed with the best community. This community has supported us through the last 8 years and has allowed us to create the game and social environment that we are proud of. For that and everything you all have done for us, we are forever grateful. With that said, it saddens us to announce that on February 10th, 2025, so that's 13 days from when we record this, we will be stopping sales on all platforms, with the server officially going offline on April 6, 2025. While we as a company have tried to sustain the game as long as possible, we have made the difficult decision to take this next and final step. In the upcoming months leading to the server shutdown, we will be planning a few farewell events, including increased drop rates on legendaries, unlocking the DLC for all players that may not have experienced it yet, and hosting the last official mage tournament in-game. While we are truly sad to say goodbye to this game, we want to celebrate the fun, friends, and memories that have been experienced in our game's long history. We plan on doing the end of game wrap up, sharing stats like total hours played, monsters killed, and etc. in the coming months. While there are still many things we would like to highlight, like standout moments we have had from playing and interacting with the community, the favorite places, or even some of the lesser known lore of the game, this will not be the last post. We are still hopeful this market gets the love and attention it deserves in the future, and wish all future developers the greatest of success in reaching their goals. We hope this game has given you more friends and memories than one can count. We are so proud of the work we have all put into this game, along with being part of pioneering the future of VR in our small way. Thank you for making every second of this journey worth it, OrbusVR development team. There's an addendum that I'll read in a second. Wanted to post a quick update today as I took time away from the computer after the announcement yesterday. This game has been a huge part of my life the last 8 years, and it was even more difficult than I thought it would be. First, I want to truly thank you for sharing your memories of what Orbus has meant to you through all through the years. I have been overwhelmed with the amount of kindness from past and present players, hearing about the deep impact Orbus had, along with the offered support of everyone. We always strive to keep the servers online as long as possible and considered our options moving forward, but even with taking no salaries for over a year and running at a loss most months, the game is not sustainable anymore. While it means more than you know to me that so many players have offered to support the game further, I want to encourage you to take that support and help other developers creating the newest generation of VR MMOs. Speaking as one of those developers from 8 years ago, you would not believe the amount of joy it brings to know that other people believed in our ideas and wanted to see what we could create. So again, thank you to all those who have reached out. It makes me so proud to be a part of this community. If you read through the comments, and I'm not going to, there's a bunch of them down here. Of course, people wishing them well and saying they're sad to see it go. But there were a lot of people when the initial announcement first went up, basically saying, do you have any, would you like to send the code somewhere or make the code open source or do something to keep the game alive past this point? And I think that's why they posted this update, was to kind of address that. There were people saying, could you start a Kickstarter or a fundraiser? We'll be happy to, donate more money to try to keep the game going. The telling line here, and I'm going to say this, is this is striking because I read this one for the first time. I didn't know this edit was here until I read it just now. We've always tried to keep the servers online for as long as possible and considered our options moving forward. Here's the money line here. But even with taking no salaries for over a year and running at a loss most months, the game is not sustainable anymore. That's brutal. One note on the Steam numbers. I don't have the Quest numbers, obviously, because I don't have access to that data. The all-time peak for OrbusVR Reborn on Steam was 7 years ago. So that would have been 2018, January 2018. And it was 337 people. That was the all-time peak for players on that game. I don't know if I can say that the Quest numbers were, if I could presume that the Quest numbers would have been better, but that number is not good for an MMORPG. It's not. Onikaze says, I think they would get a huge rallies from the community if they would release a user controllable server. I'm curious if they go that route. I don't know. They didn't say no to that here, but frankly, if they did that, I think they would do it after the game is no longer for sale or after they shut the servers down, one or the other. if you don't know what Orbus is, it's pretty much what what's said in that message. It is a MMORPG. It first originated on Steam in 2017, I think it was, and it was a launch title for the very first Meta Quest. Honestly, I can't think of a lot of MMORPGs that exist in VR. There was this, there was Zenith, which actually had its last major content update last year, and those developers said that they would no longer be updating the game because, again, it's not sustainable. And then there's Elysia, which has been in early access for God knows how long. Like, I hate saying this, but I think this is a genre that I don't think VR can reasonably sustain right now, because MMORPGs, more so than I think almost any other genre, really rely on people being online and active and playing the game, and having a level of a scale of a developer scale to continually like grow the world. Like, people who grew up playing games like EverQuest and WoW and want something like that in VR, those are massive teams that build those games and continually update those games. Whereas with VR, and if you're typical teams, like let's say 20 people, they can't possibly keep up with the pace that like WoW and EverQuest does and build to that scale. That's really difficult. Croy says hybrid works. Elite Dangerous, which is considered by some as an MMORPG. I would be curious, Croy, if Orbus has started sort of like how Township Tale, if Orbus has started as a hybrid game, and if Zenith went hybrid, if that would have helped the player base. Or, like I just said a second ago, if the size of the team and the size of the world that they built just wasn't going to satisfy your hardcore MMORPG players. Like Relax, like myself from 20 years ago, when like I was logging in every single day just to like, you know, do quests with my friends and hang out and stuff like that. Like Orbus had a near 8-year run, and that's a pretty freaking incredible run. VR is littered with dead multiplayer games, and for Orbus to have lasted as long as it did and built a community as large as it did, I think it's a testament to what that team did. So I hate to see it go. Let me start there. I really hate to see it go. But now I'm thinking, is it worth it to keep the game online now through the 10th? Or would it make more sense to delist it now? Like, I'm trying to see the business reason or like the use case for hopping in now. Maybe it's to give the people who have always, like myself, thought about checking it out but never got to it because like, I'll get around to it someday. Well, now like, I feel like I'm kind of on the clock to hop in the game and check it out. And it wouldn't surprise me if there was a spike in their player numbers over the course of the next week or so, before the game is delisted for good and then the servers go offline in April. But I'm actually gonna set a reminder to myself if I do pick up Orbus, because I actually want to be there to cover like the end of the game. Yeah, very sad. And for people who really want a massive MMORPG in VR, this is another blow. After Zenith shut down last year, people said, okay, we still have Elysia, we still have Orbus. Well, now Orbus is gone, and now Elysia is basically the last great hope.